SpeedRailz fams, what is up? Out here in San Antonio getting ready for a new city launch. Had a chance to already do some preliminary work, ground research, talent scouting. Had a chance to have Aaron Peña. How you doing, my man?
Great, man. Good to be with you.
Dude, pleasure to meet you, man. Honestly, I heard a lot about you. Had a chance to come out here on one of my preliminary trips, sat down with Rob and Danny from Live Oak Vodka here at your place, Gimme Gimme, amazing steak dinner on a Wednesday.
Thank
they
you.
had nothing but good things to say about you. Like really 50% of the meal was them talking about you.
Hey, I love these guys. What can I say? You know?
And I ended up doing some online research, just putting it out there like, yo, I'm going to San Antonio. I need 10, 20 different bars. And everybody had Gimme Gimme at the top of their list, man. So
awesome.
Super interested. This is my first time really meeting him today. So super interested to see what's your industry background? What got you to this point?
So I had a job that I hated, right? Everybody has that story. So I was working this insurance gig and it was like a call center kind of thing. It's about 12 years ago. And I went to lunch one day and I just didn't go back. So they were like calling me from the, the call center or whatever, like, you coming back? Didn't go back. I went to a bar down the street called the Friendly Spot that I always went to go have a beer after work. I had my little work polo on still, and they were like, Mr. Peña, how was work? And I was like, well, the funny thing is I quit today. So they asked me, what are you gonna do for work? And I was like, well, I don't know, man. You guys hiring? So they hired me. Of course, I wanted to be a bartender. I'd never bartended before. And they told me that if they hired me, I had to start at the bottom. So bottom meant busting tables, picking up trash, cigarette butts, all that good stuff, man. So like a busser, kind of, the position was called the yard. So you basically work in the yard.
They had to rebrand it.
Yeah, it was the yard. Well, it's a real yard. It's a patio bar. It's all outdoors. So like that was my gig. Did that for a year, and then they let me behind the bar. So I was pouring pints for about a year, and then got my opportunity to go to this cocktail bar that at the time was the best cocktail bar in the city. It was called the Brooklynite, and that was just like a real high-end cocktail spot that was doing really well. They took me on. I staged there for 6 months, back when people staged, I don't think it happens anymore.
It's illegal, I think.
I think it is, right? Yeah, it's like free labor. Yeah. So I was staging for 6 months. They hired me on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. It's like the biggest day to go out.
Yeah.
So I was there staging that Wednesday, and I was supposed to leave early, but they got their asses kicked. So they were like, yo, just make whatever you can make. I started banging out cocktails with them. I got hired the next day. So from the Brooklynite, 2015, I get my opportunity to open my first bar. It was called the Squeeze Box, and that was on the St. Mary's Strip.
How do you get the opportunity to go from bartending to opening a bar just like that? What was that process like?
The process was just right time, right place. So I'd been talking about it with my then business partner, Danny Delgado, who I think we talked about a little earlier. We talked with Naselli. He owns a few spots in town, and we had been talking about it for like 2 years. I had the name in mind already. I knew what we were gonna do, like conceptually. We just didn't have a spot. So I literally got a text one day. He's like, you still want to open a bar? I'm like, of course. Like, everybody wants to open a bar, but like, what does that entail of? Like, how much money do we need? Like, what are we going to do? You start speaking into the world, man. It just happens. And a year later, we're opening. We saved our pennies together. We had no investors, put all our pennies together, opened our first bar in 2016.
A lot of people go from bartenders to bar ownership, and that's like, you only get one shot.
Right.
You only get one shot. What was that process like dealing with your one shot, making sure you kept the lights on and the doors open?
Man, it was natural. I mean, I was young and dumb. I was 28 years old. So like, I think I afforded myself a little bit of stupidity because I was so young. And I was like, and I was just dumb confident. I was like, there's no way this doesn't work. This concept is too San Antonio to fail in San Antonio. And we came out, and I mean, by year 2, man, we're $1 million bar. So my first one was a home run, and they're not always home runs like that, We've had trials and tribulations. Even that one, I mean, we had 2 years of construction, like I told you earlier. That slowed up everything for us, and we ended up eventually closing after 7 years. But I mean, it was the experience that I got afforded me the opportunity to go do it again. Now we're sitting in my third one. I've done this is my third time.
And what are, in each one of those renditions, what were the concepts of each one of them? And what was your evolution in arriving to the next idea?
Initially, I wanted Squeeze Box to be a music venue, and I didn't know at the time how expensive live music is, and how much it just doesn't hit a lot of times. You know what I mean? Even if I care about a musician or a band, it might not always catch on to everybody else. So we started as a music venue. We did that for about a year or two. And then it kind of evolved into this like crazy kind of like Latin nightclub. And every night was like a dance party. And that was just what the street wanted, man. I told you that street's very young. It's college kids. So we kind of saw a need for that. And then of course we saw the paycheck in having a nightclub, so we kind of just went with that, man, and we did that for the next 4 years of that club. From my second bar, I wanted to have a real proper cocktail bar, because that was my background, making cocktails at the Brooklynite. So that one was kind of the evolution of just me getting a little older. I think I opened a more 4 years ago. I was 33. I was like, I need a spot where we can just chill, date spot, proper spot. And that was that, man.
So did you find yourself opening up concepts as you needed them in your own life?
Absolutely. Yeah, and then that's kind of what we're sitting in Gimme now, and I'm like, all right, cool. I always said I'll never have a restaurant. I was like, if you ever see me open a restaurant, that means I have more money than I know what to do with. And I opened this one with my partner, and then we have a restaurant, and we still don't have any money, but that's beside the point, But I mean, yeah, the need is there. Like, I wanted a spot where you can have food and watch a game, sit down, have a steak, like you said. Sorry I missed you that Wednesday, by the way. I was sick.
No, it's all good. I had a chance to visit these guys on the Wednesday. You guys have a steak night. Honestly, and the service was impeccable, and you guys had great, because I work for Del Frisco's, work for a company called Papa's out there, so I'm pretty.
Oh, I know Papa's, yeah.
So I'm homegrown in full service. So anytime I go to a bar and I'm getting full service, I'm like, yo, who is running this place right now? So
it's important, yeah.
How were you able to implement some of those strategies in a bar concept?
You gotta lead by example, obviously, right? People gotta see you getting dirty with them. So like, if I'm there busting tables, wiping down stuff, I think that sets an example for the precedent of the kind of service we want to have. So that's my gig, man. I try to just get out there with my team, show them how we do it, show them that if we provide that service, then obviously tips go up exponentially and everybody's happy.
And you brought up an interesting point, which also helped to success of that, is everybody in the building is tip pooling. Mm-hmm. And in the industry, there is a lot of people on one side or the other on the line. A lot of people don't want to share the tips to everybody, while some people feel like it's a better move. And I know the establishment a lot of times like that because it keeps everybody incentivized to provide service to everybody.
Exactly. Yeah, it's one team, one dream. So everybody always like, when they're getting served by us, they're like, we got to close out with individual bartender or whatever. I'm like, no, we're all doing the same thing. So the tip pools worked for us. It didn't work for a little bit. We tried something different, and then the staff wanted to do it again, so we went back that way.
What were their reasoning?
I think that we're just feeling like certain people weren't putting in like the work. Like the bartenders were carrying the load, servers weren't, and then the servers felt like, it was just vice versa. And then once it was all like one team, one dream, it was kind of like just smooth itself out. Everybody started moving.
And how do you guys come to those collective decisions? Are you guys doing regular meetings?
Yeah, regular meetings, and then letting the staff kind of basically decide that, because obviously we're not in that pool, so it's basically what's the best for them. So having a meeting once a month and seeing where we're at.
And I imagine at this point in your San Antonio career, you obviously can attract a lot of good talent. When it comes to the industry community as a whole in San Antonio, what are your thoughts? Because I know you said you did some bartending in Houston, right. So you have some comparable experiences.
It's still tough. Houston, I think, is, to me, one of the better food and beverage cities in Texas. I'll put them in that top 3 spot. I love Houston. I will always have love for that city. So I do take kind of notes from being out there, seeing what we see. San Antonio, hospitality-wise, it's great. I think when you go into an establishment, you get that warm, welcome feeling. Hopefully, not all of them like that, but the ones that I frequent, obviously. So I think we're up there, man. It's a hospitality city. Like, we kind of thrive off tourism and thrive off that, experience. So.
And I've been out here bouncing around places, and I found myself accidentally in Southtown a few times.
Yeah.
Can you go ahead and touch on what this side of town is from a consumer standpoint?
Yeah, it started off as an art district. So it was like the arts district at first. Then it's kind of evolved over the last 12 years into this kind of like food and beverage centric part of the city. It's the only walkable neighborhood, I think, in the city. Popping around from spot to spot, bars, restaurants. So, it's kind of going through waves of growth and lulls as well. I got here 4 years ago when I opened up a More Eterno as an owner, but I had been down here. My first job was down here 12 years ago in the service industry, so I've kind of seen it grow. But it's where I want to be. It's just like, it's walkable. It's got upscale dining if you want it. It's got dive bars if you need it. Like, it's got everything.
And obviously, we've been able to partner up with Live Oak to really bring SpeedRailz out here. And I saw that you had Live Oak here in the building, but also on the menu.
Yeah.
And I heard the espresso martinis have Live Oak.
We do.
And they told me the best espresso martini in San Antonio is actually here.
It's great.
Talk me through that whole process. What makes it so special?
Man, we have it on tap. So I think just expediting the process of having to wait. Because as we know, I think espresso martinis is that drink that most bartenders loathe to make a lot of times. So when you put them on the menu, you're kind of like a glutton for punishment.
Yeah, it could be inconsistent.
Right, it could be inconsistent. So we kind of take out the middleman and just batch it up and put it on a nitro line. So that's kind of like, ours is, expediting the process, keeping it quick, keeping it consistent. And I think I'm not really big on the espresso martini personally, but I know it's one of the best.
Did you go through the phase at least?
Nah, never.
Why? Are you just not a coffee guy?
I love coffee. I just don't like coffee and cocktails. Okay. You're an espresso martini guy?
I like coffee and I like cocktails, and I'm an efficient guy.
Yeah.
I'm not Red Bull vodka guy. I know that.
Oh yeah, same. I haven't had a Red Bull like in a decade.
Nah, it tastes like chemicals.
Yeah, it does. It makes my heart feel weird.
And so I noticed over here you guys also have Rosario across the street. Very new place compared to the rest of the area of town over here. Is there some gentrification happening over here? What's
everywhere?
What's the future of Southmore and San Antonio?
I mean, Southtown is, it's been gentrified. It's a nice area, but that's actually the reason you're noticing how new it is, because it's a new location. They used to be down the block right here forever. So they've been around, I want to say like 10, 15 years.
Okay.
And they kill it, man. Every night of the week, Rosario's is packed, no matter what night. And I mean, they do great work. We love it over there. It's our neighbors.
Okay. And we're here for Bartender Speed Competition. SpeedRailz is a bartender professional development platform. At the end of the day, yeah, we got them coming on here for speed, but we want to teach them about marketing. We want to teach them about operations, because as we talked about earlier, a lot of people end up going from bartender to bar owner and they only get one shot. They end up messing it up, and now they never get a chance to own a business ever again.
Right.
So what are your thoughts on the opportunities for bartenders to start experiencing professional growth, especially in 2025?
I mean, my experience has been unique. I mean, I know I'm not the only person who's gone from a bartender to a bar owner. I think it's a natural progression. But something that's been really cool for me is recently I got to promote my guy who's been with me for a decade, and now he's a minority owner in my cocktail bar. So like getting him the opportunity to go from the same thing I did, like barback to bartender, and now owning a spot has been real special.
And that's something that you really don't hear a lot of times, is the progression within the ecosystem already into owner. A lot of times people are ready to own a bar. It's like now you need to start from zero somewhere else, as if you didn't build a spot up in some type of way through the 10 years you were there.
Yeah. So he deserved it, man. He's been with me forever. I don't have anybody who's been that loyal. So it was time for him to get his opportunity to own his own spot. And I've been watching him grow, and now I'm watching him as an owner, and it's cool to see, man.
All right, man. Well, we'll pull up out here to San Antonio, man. I appreciate the hospitality.
Anytime.
Gimme. What was the cocktail bar?
Amor Eterno.
Like my shirt. Eterno.
Yeah,
cocktail bar.
Eternal love in Spanish.
Is that your date night spot?
That's the date night spot.
And what is this spot over here? What genre is this?
It's a date night spot too, but if you're trying to eat. But Amor is like the nightcap, sexy, low lights, candles, sweet soul music.
So you would come here first, then go there to finish up?
It's kind of the nightcap spot, yeah. I would say you come grab a bite here, have some drinks, and then go nightcap over there.
Yeah. All right, brother. Well, I appreciate you.
Absolute pleasure, man. Thank you.
San Antonio, we out here.